The city always looked different in autumn. Not louder, not quieter, just slower, like it was finally breathing. Streetlights glowed warm amber against the cold blue air, casting long reflections on damp sidewalks. Fallen leaves clung to the ground, crushed under passing shoes, releasing that familiar, earthy scent of endings and beginnings mixed together. A thin layer of fog floated just above the streets, softening the sharp lines of buildings and turning the city into something cinematic, almost unreal. Marcus Reed walked through it all with purpose. At 42, he was the kind of man people noticed without realizing why. His tailored blue suit fit him perfectly, pressed sharp, deliberate. His posture was straight, confident, trained by years of boardrooms, deadlines, and decisions that moved numbers and people. The kind of man whose name appeared on email chains and meeting agendas, whose absence from a room was felt even more than his presence. But tonight, his left hand was not holding a phone. It was holding his son's. 5-year-old Noah swung their joined hands back and forth as they walked down the downtown sidewalk. His small boots crunched through dry leaves with exaggerated steps, turning every few feet into an adventure. "Dad, look. This one's shaped like a star." Marcus glanced down, his lips lifting into a small smile. "That's great, buddy." They had just left a bookstore, one of the few remaining independent ones in the city. The kind that smelled of paper, dust, and quiet hope. Noah had spent nearly half an hour deciding between dinosaur encyclopedias, his face scrunched in deep concentration as if the fate of the world depended on the choice. Marcus had bought both without hesitation. He could afford it. He could afford most things now, but there were things money never reached. And he didn't yet know that the city was about to remind him of that. A life built on momentum. Marcus's life had always moved forward. Even as a child, he had been that way, restless, focused, driven. While other kids daydreamed, Marcus planned. While others played, he calculated. He learned early that effort led to results, and results led to security. And security, he believed, was the closest thing life offered to happiness. Years later, that belief had carried him far. Corner office, stock options, respect. He had built a life that made sense on paper. Yet as he walked beside Noah that evening, a strange stillness followed him. The kind that arrived when noise finally faded enough for quieter thoughts to surface. Tomorrow's meetings drifted into his mind, then dissolved. For once, the future didn't demand his attention. "Dad!" Marcus didn't hear him. "Dad!" This time, the voice was louder. Marcus looked down. "Come on, Noah. We should head home. It's getting cold." But Noah wasn't moving. Marcus stopped, following the direction of his son's gaze. And then he saw her. The woman at the edge of the light. She sat against the brick wall of a closed clothing store, half hidden in shadow. The store's windows were dark, mannequins frozen behind dusty glass like forgotten dreams. The woman herself looked to be in her early 30s, though life had blurred the edges of time on her face. Her hair was tangled, pulled into a loose knot that had given up hours ago. A gray coat hung off her shoulders, too big, too thin for the cold. Her hands were wrapped around a paper cup, fingers red and cracked from the weather. Beside her rested an old stroller. There was no child inside, just a few plastic bags, a folded blanket, and a worn teddy bear with one eye missing and stitching coming undone at the seams. In her lap lay a piece of cardboard, the letters written in uneven black marker. "Anything helps. God bless." She wasn't looking at anyone. She never did. Marcus recognized the posture immediately. He had seen it countless times, on street corners, near subway entrances, outside coffee shops. Look down. Make yourself small. Disappear before the rejection arrives. The city trained people quickly. Marcus's instinct kicked in automatically. Keep walking. But Noah squeezed his hand. Hard. The sentence that shouldn't exist. "Dad," Noah said softly. Marcus sighed. "What is it?" Noah pointed toward the woman. "That's Mommy." The word hit Marcus like a sudden drop in altitude. "What?" He laughed, a short, nervous sound. "Noah, no. Mommy's at home." Noah shook his head. There was no confusion on his face, only recognition. "That's Mommy," he said again. The woman lifted her head. Their eyes met. For a brief second, something flickered across her face. Surprise, fear, hope, disbelief, all colliding at once. Then it vanished, replaced by practiced detachment. "I'm sorry," she said quickly, already reaching for her things. Kids get confused. She stood, avoiding eye contact, ready to leave. "Wait," Marcus said. The word escaped him before logic could intervene. The woman froze. Noah slipped his hand from Marcus's and walked closer, crouching beside her. "You still like teddy bears," Noah said with a small smile. Her gaze dropped to the bear. "It's okay," Noah added. "Mine's at home." Marcus felt his chest tighten. "What's your name?" he asked quietly. She hesitated. "Rachel." The name echoed somewhere deep in Marcus's memory, though he couldn't place why. The bear that held the truth. Noah reached for the teddy bear, careful, respectful. "This one's name is Mr. Buttons," he said proudly. Rachel's breath caught sharply. "How do you know that?" she whispered. Marcus stared at his son. Noah looked up at him, confused by the tension. "You sang it to me," he said to Rachel, "when it was dark." Rachel's knees gave out as she sat back against the wall, covering her mouth. Tears spilled freely, uncontrolled. Marcus's heart pounded. "What song?" he asked. Noah hummed softly, a broken lullaby, gentle and aching. The melody felt old, fragile, stitched together by love and loss. Rachel sobbed openly now. Marcus understood. Not all at once, but enough. A cafe, warmth in the past. They sat inside a small cafe across the street. The windows fogged with warmth, separating them from the cold world outside. Steam rose from mugs of coffee and bowls of soup. Noah sat between them, happily coloring dinosaurs on a napkin, unaware of the emotional earthquake he had triggered. Rachel's hands shook as she spoke. She had been 19 when Noah was born. Too young, too alone, too scared. She had tried to survive. Shelters that were full, jobs that didn't last, nights without heat. When Noah fell ill, she made the decision that destroyed her and saved him. She gave him up, not because she didn't want him, because she loved him more than herself. "I watched from a distance," she said softly. "I just wanted to know he was okay." Marcus listened in silence. He thought of adoption paperwork, waiting lists, interviews, of Emily's tears when they were finally approved, of the day Noah entered their lives, small and quiet and perfect. He had never asked who Noah had been before them. Now the answer sat across the table. The choice that changes everything. Rachel looked down. "I don't want anything," she said. "I just wanted to see him once." Marcus exhaled slowly. "You don't belong on the street," he said. She smiled bitterly. "I don't belong anywhere." "That's not true," he replied. For the first time, Marcus felt something shift inside him. Not pity, not guilt, but respect. The hardest conversation. Emily cried when Marcus told her. Then she nodded. "Bring her here," she said. Not to replace, not to compete, but to heal. Boundaries were drawn. Time moved carefully. Noah gained something priceless. Truth. 1 year later, autumn returned. The city breathed again. Noah ran ahead, laughter echoing through the leaves. Mr. Buttons sat proudly on his bed. Rachel worked at a daycare nearby. Emily smiled more. And Marcus? Marcus learned that success wasn't about speed. Sometimes the most important moments arrived only when you stopped.